So my name's Jeff Ray. I grew up in southeast Minnesota. I live now in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I play guitar. I play slide guitar is one of my kind of specialties. Play a lot on the resonator guitar, and I have a little band that I've thrown together of some crazy people who all bought into the same idea of just jamming and improvising and writing music on the spot. I've been performing since about 2000 is when I really started to perform as a solo musician. Prior to that time, I actually moved down to Memphis for a short while and played. I was playing electric guitar around that time, so I'm sort of an electric guitar transplant in a way. I started electric, went to acoustic, and I think that kind of comes through in the style that I play, which is a very kind of integrative style of rock and blues and East Indian music and whatever else in between. Basically, there's a lot of like emotional health, with having a guitar and playing music, and it's really a necessity of life. I think it's really one of those things that I really don't have a choice in a way. I have to play music for the rest of my life. That's a good thing, It's I guess it's a good problem to have, maybe. But I would imagine there's maybe other people who have passions that they get the same kind of benefit from. Maybe if it's art or whatever, it could be anything. But yeah, it's just a necessity. It's like food. Yeah. So one of the things I like about a lot of like pre-war music in general is that things weren't pigeonholed so much back then as far as being blues and being country or being jazz or some other style. There was a lot of kind of interplay between or sharing, I guess would be a better word, of genres. So you could go to Appalachia and you'd hear some of the same kind of elements in the music that you'd hear down in the Delta, and around, go down to the southeast U.S. and you'd hear kind of a Piedmont blues style. And so, there was kind of more of a natural kind of musical thing occurring, I feel like, in America at the time. And then after World War II, it was much more, there was more commercialization occurring. I mean, commercialization occurred before then as well, but I think it got more kind of marketed, I guess would be the right kind of word, at that time. So country music became country music, and if you listen to country, that's what you listen to. If you listen to blues, that's what you listen to, But, before all that, it was a little more kind of gray area between the genres. And that's what I do, like in my own music, is I try to not just be a blues musician or just be, this slide guitar thing or a rock and roll thing, or I try to kind of just do do everything I've heard and put it into one sound and let it kind of roll from there. I do, I have a lot of original music I've done, but lately, in the last few years, I've really been doing a lot of covers of kind of more obscure songs and then making them in my own way, So I've been sort of writing parts that the way I'd like to kind of do the song. So I'm not really trying to emulate anything. I'm trying to do it just my own little way, in a respectful way, of course, too, not totally destroying a song, and trying to do it in a, respectful kind of way, but original at the same time. Lately, especially, with the quartet that I have, and some of the stuff I've been doing with Harold Tremblay on harmonica, a lot of our songs have evolved over time. And even by the time like the record comes out, the songs have changed a little bit from then, There's a African musician, Fela Kuti, who some people maybe are familiar with, but he would wait to record a song until he felt it was finished, and then they would record it and then release it, and they'd never play it again because he would never liked how songs would keep evolving and be so different from the album. He wanted to capture the song at its moment, at its peak, when it was perfected, and then stop.
Baby, I'm troubled, I've been all worried mind. and I just can't be satisfied, no, and I can't keep myself from crying.
I grew up in southeast Minnesota, and my brothers turned me on to Led Zeppelin when I was in elementary school. So from Led Zeppelin onward, I just kept digging backwards, and just finding out where they got their music from, and who they were inspired by, and then who those people were inspired by, and so forth. And it just kept leading me backwards in time, further and further back. And then I would say, I went down to Memphis and, played a lot of blues when I was down there. And then when I moved back up north, I was really getting into Nick Drake and a lot of that folk fingerstyle stuff. And I was kind of bringing the two together. And then I was finding similarities in other styles of music. So like in Indian music, there's a big emphasis on improvisation, which is also a huge emphasis in blues. And, sort of that spontaneous composition idea. And so I was getting into Indian music as well and integrating some of that into my playing. But as far as, where that trigger was for the love of music, I would say it really came from my early experiences with jamming with other people in high school, and I had a little band that I was in, and there was some points in the music where you're playing and it was just so good, that feeling, it was just an uplifting kind of good feeling. And when you're done playing, you feel like you're more energized, you're not worn out, you have more energy, so it's just been a constant source of vitality and energy and kind of a zest for life, is what I experienced early on. And then ever since then, you get a taste of it and you just want that again and again and again. All right.